This time right now on the planet is the most exciting time to be alive than ever before, and deep down, you knew it. Before you came into this reality, you knew this, and even when you go to bed at night, you're awake to these higher states of consciousness. In this video, I'm going to share with you those 1, 2, 3 things you knew about this life on Earth, and what you need to know moving forward as we move through this time of transformation. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, we're gonna go a little bit esoteric. I'm gonna be sharing with you some ideas that I've really looked into since the year probably 2011, 2012, when I really got into this kind of information. And what I'm gonna do is share that with you and see and go within yourself to see if this resonates with you, because I'm not gonna lie to you. Some of this is pretty esoteric. However, this is also something that I think more and more people are waking up to. It's becoming less and less woo-woo and more of an understanding. By the way as well, look to any of the ancient texts that have been around for thousands of years, and they all point to us being eternal spiritual beings living temporary human experiences. So that's something that's been around for a very long time. However, the way that I'm going to language it with you is knowing some of these sources I'm going to be sharing with you. Some of the information from this video is going to come from the content of Dolores Cannon. You have the books, The Law of One. Dolores Cannon has 17 or 19 books out on transcripts of her hypnotherapy sessions of getting people to a very deep level of hypnosis, where then they reveal certain things from their subconscious, like 1, why they incarnated at this time; 2, maybe some of their pre-life agreements, things that they agreed to; 3, maybe the different relationships they have in their life that they want clarity on. And through thousands of these different hypnosis type sessions, there were very consistent things that were said from people all around the world who didn't know each other. And some of the things I'm going to be sharing with you today about what you knew before you were born. Now, second one, The Law of One. There's 5 of these books. They're called The Law of One, and it is by that of Carla Rueckert and Jim McCarthy. Jim McCarthy is a physicist who was interviewing his wife, who was bringing through this information in the early 1980s. Very profound information, very deep. It takes a lot to read. It's kind of a hard read, to be honest with you, because the questions are so advanced and the answers are so advanced. However, very powerful information, considered some of the best channeled works of all time. Bashar, many of you know that who Bashar is, or maybe you've heard me talk about him before. And then Jane Roberts, the Seth materials. These 4 are the main sources I'm going to be sharing with you, where the information was extracted from, because they're some of my favorite sources. I've read a lot of the books and I've read a lot of the content. So first things first, this may be a little bit of a surprise to you. I've talked about it in another video before, but you picked your parents. You may say, well, I picked my parents, but what about this? What about that? You picked your parents because of many different reasons. Sometimes, Bashar said this before, sometimes it could be based on convenience. It could have been convenience. It could have been a light thing. You just needed a body to come through, and that's why you picked them. However, many times you pick your parent. I know that I feel very close with my parents, like I've known them in different lives and stuff like that at deeper levels. However, that is something that we do. We pick our parents, even if you go through some type of pain. It's normally for some type of learning type lesson. I was talking to my buddy Drew the other day, Drew Canoli, who you maybe saw I did a video with. He went through a lot of pain growing up from both of his parents, because both of his parents were heroin addicts. And deep down, he knows that he chose his parents. But then he also knows that he chose his the parents that ended up taking him in as his own, and those ended up becoming his real, his parents in this life. So it's interesting. There are certain soul contracts we may have, and maybe the soul contract is you're going to bring through this baby. Maybe you're not ready for it. Maybe it causes a lot of pain, but then it could also be a soul contract where then if you're adopted, my mom was a foster kid. That could have been something that at a higher level, she agreed to. Now, this is the thing we do choose our parents. We chose our name. There's a certain vibration that our name carries. You may say, Aaron, I don't like my name. I don't like it. Here's the thing. Maybe at the ego level, you didn't choose it. At the soul level, you impressed the vibration of the name that you wanted onto your parents, and then they chose a name that was within that vibration. Now, this is what they call numerology, and this is what people that study numerology believe, but this is also something that I think has a lot of validity, because I believe we do choose our name. Our name has to do with the vibration that we put out into the world, and you can look more into that to see. I know that probably also sounds kind of esoteric, but just look into it and see if it resonates with you. And we chose the time of our birth. So our astrological signs, these are all just kind of permission slips or tools that we may use to understand certain trajectories of our life. However, it helps kind of steer us in the right direction. So those are some of the things. Those aren't even what I'm talking about in this video, though. Let me share with you a little bit of the content from Dolores Cannon of what she said that's consistent across thousands of different of the hypnotherapy sessions. So let's look at this. This is Earth, okay? This is my rendition of Earth right here. You can kind of see it. It's a little blob right there. Earth is beautiful. However, here's what happened. And through these hypnotherapy sessions, one thing that was consistent that came around is that back in the 1930s, what was happening on the Earth? What was happening was we, as a collective society, were experimenting with nuclear bombs. We weren't necessarily doing the most high vibe stuff. We were experimenting with nuclear bombs, and what ended up happening is some of those nuclear bombs went off. And what happened is it caused this big ripple. Imagine this big ripple going out into the universe. Now what happens is the way that our reality works, you could study any of these four sources and talks about this, the way that our reality works is everything is connected. And the way our reality also works is we have free will within here on Earth. And Earth is a place that we go where we forget who we are, so then we can then remember who we are. And the thing is the free will is based on what we've agreed to as part of this game on Earth. Think of it, it's kind of like a game, it's like a learning lesson ground. We come to Earth to learn a lot of lessons very quickly because it advances our soul in a certain way. Now what happened is, back in the 1930s, we did a no-no. No. You want to know what that no-no was? The no-no was we kept putting out nuclear bombs. Now here's the thing. We can influence our Earth, our reality, where we forget who we are. But when we start to have something that goes out that affects other reality systems, like a nuclear bomb, then it becomes something where it's like, okay, that's a no-no. You guys can't be trying to kill yourselves and trying to blow yourselves up, okay? It's a no-no. So what happened is there was a call that was put out energetically to a lot of different souls. Here's the thing as well. Now, let's go a little more esoteric. Every single person watching this video, you are multidimensional. I know it sounds kind of weird, but you exist at many different levels of consciousness right now. You are much more vast than you can even imagine. Now, here's the thing. That call was put out, and there were a lot of souls that have been on Earth before that had this deep love for Earth that wanted to come back to help. Because in a way, there was a call that was put out that said, I need help. The peeps on this planet are trying to destroy me. And that call was put out, and we said, I want to come back, and I want to help. And over thousands of different transcripts in Dolores Cannon's material, it talks about this, and it talks about that consistency was there, where it was like, I heard the call. I heard the call, and that's why I came to incarnate. So the first one is we knew that this was going to be a time of transformation. We knew that coming here was going to be something of an incredible amount of growth. And in the Law of One, it talks about this. What we are doing is we are going from a third density reality into a fourth density reality. Density is a little bit different than dimension. But this is what is called the harvest in the Law of One. If you want more information on that, check out the Law of One, check out the harvest. We're going through a harvest right now, which in the 1980s, when that information was coming through, was saying that between the 2000s, 1987, and then up till now, we're going through this shift in consciousness, this harvesting of souls, where we have the ability to elevate our consciousness from 3D, which is the heaviness, the density, to duality. Things being very heavy, time going by a little bit more slow, a lot of control on the planet, to 4D, which is life becomes much more dreamlike, much more flexible. Things become much more about vibration. That is something that we knew was going to be a part of this life. And like I said, you could study, don't just take my word for it, do some of your own research and see what resonates with your soul. We've been primed and conditioned to believe that we're not powerful beings. So therefore what we do is we go through life believing when we're born, here's the thing as well. When we're born into this ego body as a stick figure, it's shown by a stick figure. What happens is we grow up believing that this is who we are. We are the avatar. We are an eternal spiritual being that's using the vehicle of this avatar. That's what's important to remember. And in the ancient texts talk about this. It's a vehicle called the Merkaba, the light body. That's what we're doing in this life, is we are activating aspects of our light body. We have the opportunity to ascend to a higher level of consciousness. So the first thing we knew before we were even born is that this was going to be a time of transformation. Now, I really believe it is the most exciting time to ever be alive in the history of what we are going through. Now, that's something else that, in a way, we wanted to see, is we wanted to be alive. Dolores Cannon's work, that's what she talks about as well. There are souls that want to come into planet Earth. And that's why you may notice the population is growing so much. It's not just because the biology of everyone's doing it. And then it's also because souls want to come in here. So what's happening is there's all these souls that want to come in. And there was this, I don't know if it was a metaphor or what, but it was in Dolores Cannon's work. There are many souls that said, I don't care what kind of life I have on earth, I just want to be on earth for the time to say I was here during the time of transformation. Because this is one of the only places at the degree of forgetfulness that we have on earth. This is one of the most dense and most challenging places to be in the universe, from what is explained in some of these sources. It's very challenging to be here, but it's also very rewarding. Also know this about yourself. Sometimes we look and we're like, oh, this is so challenging. It means we're a low evolved soul. It takes a very strong, advanced soul to be able to come here to go through this kind of process. So you are a strong, empowered being. You are not some unevolved, caught up in the trenches, and you have to go through all of this at the whims of everything. But many souls have said they just want to come here to be alive. Now, think about it. Even if it was talking about this, and it said that there were souls saying, there were souls looking at different probabilities of what they would experience on Earth. And what happened is somebody was telling them, okay, you can go on Earth, but what's going to happen? I don't know what kind of person was mediating this, but said, or what kind of soul was mediating this, said, okay, you can go on Earth, but you're going to be in this country, and you're going to pass away at this age, that's the highest probability, blah, 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 blah. And then souls would say, I don't care, I just want to be alive on the planet during this time just to say I was here. Because never before has such a mass amount of people gone through this shift in consciousness in body. That's something else that you can study on this. And deep down, see if this resonates with you. Some of this might sound very esoteric. You might be like, I don't know about this guy in the white sweater talking about this kind of stuff. But go within yourself and see. I've done a lot of research. There's a lot of stuff that I turn away based on discernment. So it's not like I just, when I did this research, I've looked through many different consistent things to come to this conclusion. But also, it's something you have to go deep within yourself to see. There's a lot of content out there that shows this, though. So it's not that kind of weird. Now, here's the second thing you knew when you came here. You knew that this was the life to remember who you are. To literally remember and to wake up to who you are as eternal spiritual being. Many lives we live on autopilot. Many people still may be on autopilot even as they remember this, but this is what we call a spiritual awakening. And a spiritual awakening is something that completely shifts our own life, but understand that as we do it, it also influences the people around us. I know when I went through my awakening back in 2012, it's kind of like popcorn. Like one of those kernels will pop in the microwave, and then another one will pop, and then another one will pop, and it's like pop, 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 pop. That's how awakening is. I popped back in 2011, and there were people that went through awakenings way, way, way before that for thousands of years. But I went through it in 2011, and then I popped. Then what happened is some people in my family pop, pop. And then some friends years later now are starting to go pop, 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 pop. So what's happening here? It's a popping time. It's a popping on the popcorn because it's time of awakening. That's what it is. The popping is the remembrance. You better be popping, okay? You're popping if you're watching this video, I'll tell you that right now. Remembering who you are. Remembering was something that you agreed to do in this life. Otherwise, you wouldn't be seeing this video. This video, you would maybe turned it on for 2 seconds and I would have said the thing about picking your parents, and you would have remembered how you got put in timeout when you were 3 years old and said,
I didn't pick my parents, I went to timeout when I was 3.
and I was like, and then you just turned off the video. But no, deep down, you knew this actually somewhat resonates. So here we are, Aaron's doing stick figures of people trying to get into Earth, and he's got an avatar right there. So now here we are. And you came here to remember who you are. Now, that's something that's kind of self-explanatory, but you came here to wake up. Part of the joy of this game is you said to yourself, hey, can I go on this planet where there's a lot of craziness, there's a lot of stuff going on, there's a lot of people that are fighting each other and all of this crazy stuff, but here's what you wanted to do. The way that this reality works, because some people say, hey, why don't like higher dimensional beings or ETs just land and give us like free technology and stuff, and just like we'll clean the oceans and everything will be great. The way that this reality works is we must influence it from the inside out. We must play according to the rules. It's kind of like in Star Trek when they can't like interfere with a less evolved society or civilization. It's kind of like that in a way. A lot of these ETs are higher vibrational beings. And if you study the law of one, Dolores, it talks, all of these pretty much talk about some type of ET. ET means beyond our Earth. There are other reality systems. We're multidimensional, so there are reality systems beyond Earth. And what happens is a lot of the ancient texts, by the way, that talk about angels and godlike beings, they were ETs. Yeah. So I hope that absorbs nicely for you. But that's what it was. So in a sense, we had to change this reality from the inside out, and part of you waking up is going to influence other people. Now, the third thing that you came, and the thing you knew about this life, you came to empower and shed your light. You came to empower and shed your light. This is the time of awakening, and by you knowing this information, even if you're like, Aaron, I'm not going to go make videos about this, I see it, even by you just consuming this and looking at it and entertaining the idea, it is going within your subconscious, going within the way that you think, even if you're like, well, I don't even know if I'm going to apply it. What happens is we're all connected to a collective consciousness. So the more people that are becoming aware of this, and the more people that are tapping into it, it's bringing through more of that energy. It's beginning to grow that energy. And that's why something like social media can be so powerful in a positive way, is if more and more people absorb this kind of information, it spreads the information even more. But you came to empower, you came to do the inner work, you came to raise your vibration. And because of that, that's what really is going to help you to transform your own life, but also the life of the collective consciousness, because we came here for ourselves, for this transformation. Now, 1980, 2030, and beyond, I think it's just going to continue to move faster and faster. Doesn't time feel like it's going by quicker than ever? It's because as time goes on, what happens is we become more and more aware of who we are. It raises our own frequency, and then the perception of time goes by quicker. I swear the days fly by. They go by so quick, it's crazy. So something that you came to do is to empower, and I want you to know you're a powerful being. You came here to shed your light. You came here to do the inner work. And as you do the inner work, you're not just transforming your life, you're transforming literally everyone around you as well. You will notice this trickle effect, this pop, 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 popcorn, okay? I got a little carried away there. But this is the key. Now, you might be wondering yourself, is there a meditation I could do that could help me to become more aware of this? I have a starseed meditation. It sounds more esoteric. Let's go there. It's a starseed activation, which will help to activate some of these remembrances within you. It's a very powerful meditation. Read some of the comments just to see what's possible. But this starseed activation, and also it has to do with connecting to what is called 5D energy, which is like the 3 to 4 density. It's like 5th dimensional energy. So that's something you can do. That starseed activation will be right here. Click it and listen to it for 21 days. Read the comments to see what's possible. Other than that, hope you enjoyed this video. Peace, much love, and namaste.